What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming, the show where we talk about gaming news. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And a quick reminder, make sure to play XCOM 2 and Trials Fusion. Both offer free on PlayStation Plus. Make sure to play those. Come back at the end of the month for Plus Club. We'll let you know what we thought of those games. Let us know what you thought of them. And our game of the month, as picked by Chris, is Warframe, a free-to-play game where you get to be a space ninja. Play that. You got nothing to lose. Try it out. It's on almost everything. Play that. Come back at the end of the month for Game of the Month. We'll talk about that game as well. Also, we have a Discord down in the description box. Hit the button. Join us at Discord. Let's talk about random shit, post some memes, whatever. And we are also on most podcast websites, including iTunes. Make sure to listen to us if you prefer to do that. And if you're listening to us, come over to YouTube and check us out at Tasty Loot Gaming. See what we look like and all that stuff. We sometimes have some cool visuals, especially if we're reacting to videos. Also, I just want to say this is going to be a... well, we don't have a whole lot of things to talk about here because E3 is still pretty fresh on the minds of most people. So, and that's kind of a good thing because we actually spent a lot of time on E3 this last week. Oh, yeah. So it's kind of nice to just have something a little smaller and, doing Taste Tuesday again, doing a little, just a smaller episode, nothing that's like 2-3 hours long. So it's kind of nice. But we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us throughout the week, talking E3. In case you don't know, we did all the streams, all the conferences, streamed all of them. Make sure to go check those out if you want to see how we react to those. We also did last Friday a Tasty Cast talking about our takeaways of every single conference. We break each one down, then we graded them, then we graded all of E3. So if you're interested in seeing that, go check that out. And then I also did over the weekend, this last weekend, I went through and watched a lot of the gameplay videos that were not shown at the conferences. So if you're interested in seeing those as well, go check that out. Bunch of E3 shit. So getting into some news, even though it's very limited. By request, we've had some people ask us, what do we think about the Monster Hunter World and Final Fantasy 14 collaboration? We did watch the Final Fantasy 14 side of that. So we are going to watch the Monster Hunter side of it. It's a very short video, 1 minute long. But before we get into that, I'd like to talk about real quick just a couple things they said about this. They've essentially said that you are going to be getting gear from Behemoth, which is the monster that will be in Monster Hunter coming from Final Fantasy. And they are quoted as saying, or Yoshida's quoted as saying, we're both going into this very serious, very gung-ho about this content. We have deep respect for each other's titles, and we're doing something really crazy. Before we watch this video, I mean, what do you? We already kind of talked about it already, but what do you think about this crossover?
I mean, I think it's cool. I especially appreciate on the Final Fantasy 14 side of it, at least from what I've heard, that it's not a temporary event, that it's actually just going to be an addition to the game.
That's pretty cool.
And that, because at first I was a little confused. A lot of times when they do these crossover events, you don't have to be max level and have beaten the story. In this case, you do, and the whole reason behind that is they didn't want Rathlos to feel like it was just some, chintzy little boss to fight.
That's smart.
They wanted it to feel like a boss fight. So if I'm not, like I said, I didn't do a whole lot of research on it, just pretty much hearsay. So feel free to correct me. But it's supposed to be like an 8-man fight, and it's just supposed to be part of the game. So.
Yeah, a lot of people are speculating too that this confirms Zinogre, however you say it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are saying that the skeleton looks very similar. We've seen pictures of it. It does look very similar.
Yeah, Behemoth's body shape is very similar. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and if it's not, it's not. But if it is, I mean, so far all the leaks about the game have been 100% accurate. Mm-hmm. So, either way, new content. Let's watch the video. I also think it's really cool that they're even doing it at all. We did talk about the whole origins of this too. They met at a bar. It was when Final Fantasy 14 was struggling. The guy from Monster Hunter was like, if you need help from us in any way, let us know. They didn't have to help them, luckily, but that friendship has lasted, and now they're finally getting to collaborate together.
Yeah, after they put it in Yoshida's hands, it did a lot better. So.
Yeah, which is awesome. Glad both games are just killing it right now. So, all right, let's watch this. Got a cotton candy sky getting sucked up by some dark clouds. A very default looking Monster Hunter. Crazy meteor. Final Fantasy likes its meteors.
Well, I would say specifically in 14, it's kind of symbolic because it's what destroyed the original game to make the new game.
Oh, yeah. That's scary.
Though that was Bahamut, not Behemoth. But, yeah.
So it's funny because Behemoth is a pretty iconic monster or thing from Final Fantasy, and it does kind of fit. It's definitely more high fantasy than like the Monster Hunter monsters, but it still is like a big, aggressive looking monster that kind of fits. There's so many other things I wouldn't think would fit. Is that a cactar?
Yeah.
I really hope you can get one of those, like as a
Pet for your room.
pet for your room would be cool. I was even thinking like dress up your Palico like that.
Costume for your Palico. Yeah. I also like how they even threw the crystal in there because you know that's a staple of Final Fantasy. So.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, kind of already talked about it, but I think like Behemoth, I really like the size. They really make it look like a Final Fantasy monster, because in Final Fantasy there's like larger than life monsters, and kind of makes sense when you're talking about they don't want to make like Rathalos look like a bitch, because that kind of makes a lot of the monsters kind of look like a bitch. But yeah, it's really cool. I really like seeing that kind of cross pollination of two different brands. I would love to see monsters from other games move over to Monster Hunter as well. I mean, the guys from Gears of War literally like
asked for it.
Yeah, they were like, we'd love to collaborate and like put in, I forgot the name of them. Let me know in the comments if you know, if you're a Gears fan. But like the big like missile thing, they said, you know, take away the gun, whatever. Just we'd love to put it in there.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that.
I remember. Yeah, the tweet was, so who do I got to talk to at Capcom to have this monster, you know, put Monster Hunter. And I really hope they would do that, because it'd be really cool for Xbox to get some love on that.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
It's super unlikely, I hate to say, just because Capcom's a Japanese company, Sony's a Japanese company.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, like, they usually kind of.
Well, and these two guys are literally buddies. So
these two guys are friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would love to see it though, just because. I don't like the whole like exclusivity thing. When it comes to content, I'm always kind of like weirded out by. Destiny is a great example of that. They always get I want to say dungeons, but it's not dungeons. You know what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
That the Xbox just doesn't end up getting and stuff like that, and it sucks for the gaming community as a whole. So I don't know. I'd like to see it.
I'd also like to see something from Dark Souls come over. There's I think it's in Dark Souls. Dark Souls fans will let me know for sure. But I think it's in Dark Souls. There's a wolf with a sword in its mouth. They have to fight a giant wolf. I think that'd be kind of fucking cool.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
that'd be more likely.
It would. Yeah.
Sadly.
Well, there's a lot of monsters I wouldn't expect to see. Yeah. I mean, even the giant. I've been playing the remaster again lately, and right in the beginning of the game, there's that giant fucking fat dragon thing in the asylum, the first thing you ever fight in the game pretty much. And even something like that would maybe fit, although they're really grotesque, so it wouldn't really fit the world all too well. But like, I think the wolf with the sword would kind of like, you'd look at it and go, that's not from this game.
I don't know, Valhazak is pretty gross.
That's true. Well, anything from Dark Souls is fucking darker than that though, even though that is pretty grim. That's just wearing skin. So yeah, pretty cool though. Would love to see some more crossovers. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about this crossover, and what other crossovers would you like to see? What specific monsters or anything from another game franchise would you like to see over in Monster Hunter, and vice versa? What would you like to see in Monster Hunter go over to another game? Let us know in the comments. And on to our first technically bit of news, kind of bit of news, more of a comment, but during E3, they were talking with Brendan Green, who is Player Unknown, the guy who made PUBG, essentially talking with him about development of PUBG, and they brought up what does he think about like big names making battle royale games. And he essentially said in the interview, oh no, we have our own internal roadmap, and of course there's going to be competitors. This year is a battle royale of battle royals. Everyone has their own battle royal, which is great. I love seeing the genre grow. It's going to be interesting to see if it's going to develop as a full genre. He also continued to say, we look internally, we have our own goals, we don't look at what other people are doing. We kind of have blinders on. We've had these sort of stretch goals for quite some time. While yes, competition is great to keep people on their toes, we don't necessarily look at what others are doing. And a lot of people talking about this article have essentially been saying that, wording it as if he doesn't care and he's not concerned about things. But there's a little bit more nuance to it than that. But what do we think about essentially PUBG's roadmap and how he's essentially reacting? I'm saying essentially a lot. reacting to all the growing competition?
So, I'm glad they have a plan because it's kind of important to keep your game alive.
Yeah.
I'm more so just baffled by this guy.
Oh yeah.
Because in the past, he said that people were stealing from him. And now he's saying the competition's okay, but the flip side to him saying that is, but I don't really care. I'm not paying attention. You are so paying attention to them.
Yeah, he knows what everybody's doing.
This guy shouldn't be allowed to speak for his game, I think. I hate to say that, but like the dude needs a PR dude.
He definitely does. Every time he talks, it gets worse and worse and worse. We've rooted this game on. And I still would back when it was, rising, but they've had huge success.
Yeah,
and they haven't really done a whole lot with it. Honestly, I saw a thing recently on Twitter talking about people were pretty much debating whether I forgot the way they word it, but there's a term people use for games that get released to make a bunch of money and they stop supporting them. They make their money and then they're like done with it. And people are defending, saying PUBG's not that. And a lot of people are saying, no, they already scammed us. It's done. So people are having that conversation now because they've released. Well, yeah. Well, there's a lot of games on early access though on Steam that do that.
Sure.
It's not even rare. So a lot of people are saying that's what these guys have done. So that's a different discussion, but it's interesting that the community is talking about this now. Yeah. And they've added maps or whatever, but it hasn't really grown to the same. Or hasn't grown the same as like Fortnite has. Yeah, Fortnite is constantly evolving, and has had huge success, and we're about to see a bunch of new guys show up, and we'll see how they do it. So it's really interesting to see how this conversation has evolved with him, because, like you said, he was unrealistic about how ideas evolve, and essentially unrealistic about where he stands when it comes to this genre. Yeah. And very protective of it. And I mean, they sued the guys who make
Epic Games.
They sued Epic Games in Korea, I believe. Right?
In Korea.
Yeah.
Not anywhere else.
So I mean, like, in a sense, you have to know what they're doing, and you have to be paying attention, and you have to care to some point if you're going to do that. I think this is him just trying to play cool, honestly. They made their money. They're going to do fine. He's going to want to keep doing fine. But I think this is him accepting the wave coming and him trying to be cool about it. I think he's just like, oh yeah, well, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, there's no stopping.
He's already showed his cards though. So I mean, like, it's bullshit. I don't buy it. I don't buy that he doesn't keep track of the other games. He's talking about having blinders on. I don't buy that. I think he's lying. When he's saying, it's good for everything. If it was his way, they wouldn't be able to make these games. Yeah. He would just be making money off of his game alone. As for like before, when he's talked about like, oh, we got to keep up and keep evolving the game, we've kind of fallen behind. Yeah, I mean, it has. And I like PUBG. I think it's a fun game. But I mean, like, out of all the fucking battle royale games that are out right now and the ones that are coming, they're not as aggressive as the other guys.
I think that's exactly the point to make here is, and it's a little unfair in a way to compare them to Epic Games, because Epic Games is a huge company
with a long pedigree of game development.
Yeah, so I mean,
this isn't anything new for them to make
them a game. Aggressively making a game, and with the amount of money they're making, they have the resources to turn that money into more production, blah blah, et cetera, et cetera. So they can super aggressively continue that game until people stop playing it. Versus, I can't remember the company right now. They are successful, but not on the same level. And
Blue Hole?
Yeah, I think so.
Bluefish, something, yeah.
But they're really deep in Korea and whatnot. Yeah. But Epic is so international, it's crazy. Their engine alone makes them money. So
yeah, they're not a small company.
No. I mean, look how many games come out on the Unreal Engine.
Well, that's what I keep telling people about Call of Duty and Battlefield coming to the Battle Royale genre. Like, people are like, oh, it's not going to work. And I'm like, why wouldn't it?
EA and Activision
those are huge companies with already successful games. Yep. Then these are modes. It's not changing anything. You're still getting that game. So why wouldn't you try out the Battle Royale, and you might like it? Yeah. And people who like Battle Royale are going to play it.
I get to play Battlefield 5, and you get to play Battlefield 5, and if I'm not playing and you want to play the Battle Royale mode, because I may not be interested, you can go do that while I'm not playing it, you know, type of thing. It's just in there. So,
and I will be playing Battlefield 5 when it comes out. and it will be on my mind, and I'm going to be playing more than PUBG. So, I mean, if I'm going to be playing a Battle Royale at the time, it's probably going to be that or Call of Duty. So, I mean, like, they already have a lot of competition from Fortnite right now, and they're about to get more. This is where it's going to get difficult. Like he said, it's the Battle Royale for Battle Royals.
No, for sure. And
all the smaller guys, they're all fucked.
well, and there's plenty of room to carve out your niche, though, as long as you are creative and up to the task.
And don't have blinders on and pay attention to competition and compete.
Because you know what Fortnite does, obviously, versus what PUBG does. I mean, you play them both. They're not the same feeling game at
They
all.
fall under the same principles, but they're completely different games.
Completely different.
I can't play Fortnite because it's just not my jam. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm not into the way it plays, but I appreciate it. I think it plays great, but I'm just not into the cartoony build houses thing.
Right, versus like PUBG versus like H1Z1, for example. That's a closer matchup, I'd say. And whoever proves hungrier and more ambitious there is going to make more money.
I mean, that's a great point. Something that is H1Z1 and PUBG are very similar. PUBG is a better made game, but if H1Z1 wanted to be more aggressive about their game, PUBG's leaving it open for them.
Yep.
So,
and that's the kind of thing you got to pay attention to. They should be paying attention to Fortnite a little bit, but they have a different game, so you shouldn't be.
They should play to their strengths and push
exactly.
further in what they do.
I don't know. It's
the more
weird situation.
The more I hear from this guy, the more I'm just like, you made the game good. Let somebody else like make the decisions now, and let someone else talk. Just take your money.
It's just
and
crazy.
every once I'll be like George Lucas and be like, hey, I think we should add this.
We're not in game development, so I mean, obviously we're not professionals, and there's a lot of behind the scenes shit that we don't know about. But from a consumer standpoint, you can't keep people in a stale game.
Well, and that's a good point. We're not the developers. We don't know the ins and outs. We don't know their ins and outs, but we are the consumers. We're the people who are giving them the money.
Yep.
And they need us. And when I tell you, like, I like PUBG, but my interest isn't there right now because there's nothing new and exciting with it.
That's a flag.
That's a viable thing that needs to be listened to. Because I'm watching, like, every day, if something's posted about Fortnite or PUBG, people in those comments are fucking talking shit to each other about which one's better. So, I mean, like, there's obviously a rivalry, and Fortnite is a free-play game.
And a monster.
Yeah, it's huge. So, this guy, I think, just needs to fucking... at least he's getting there, but he needs to fucking get realistic and get aggressive.
And stop caring about, like, trying to sound cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah, stop trying to save face and fucking...
Be a businessman.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds awful to say that, but I mean, like, realistically, if you're going to be the face of a game in a company, not the company, but face of a game,
yeah, he's not a good face.
You got to be a businessman.
No.
Look at E3, right? Anytime like a dev came out who obviously isn't used to doing the public speaking and whatnot, they had a rough time in it. But then you had like the people in charge of things, like the BioWare people were out there, and they were obviously the head BioWare people. They were well spoken, presented to them very professionally.
Those people all came up in business though. Like this guy literally just made this. It's kind of like Dean Rocket Hall. Business. Yeah. And then they just need to hire Peter Molyneux. Just like, hey, you're really good at selling nothing to people.
Yeah, first plastic surgery and change his name though, because everyone's not going to believe that guy anymore.
Meter Molyneux. They'll be like, oh, we have a great new game, PUBG, that will literally do everything you've ever wanted from a game by pressing a single button. You'll always not regret hitting this button. This is the good button. That's how he talked about Fable. Let us know in the comments. What do you think about Brandon Green's comments on this? What do you think about the Battle Royale genre as it stands now and the competition coming up? Do you think he's being realistic? Do you think he's telling the truth when he says he's not paying attention? And what do you think about the future of PUBG as more competitors show up to the Battle Royals? Let us know in the comments. Second and last bit of news, because there's not a whole lot of news this week.
So This is based off a very long article, so if you would like to read the whole thing, it's on PC Game's website. The title of it is Game Industry Pushes Back Against New Gaming Disorder Classification. So to shorten this as best I can, last year, I believe,
in December,
the World Health Organization proposed that gaming disorder should be classified as an addictive behavior. It was met with pushback then, and it has come back up now because essentially I think they revised it, but it's
I believe they needed a more they needed a not vague terminology for it. It needed to be more specific.
That was the original problem with it.
Yeah.
However, the pushback now from many organizations, and just to rattle them off real quick: ESA, ESAC, EGDF, IESA, IGEA, ISFA, K Games, and UBV&G. I don't know what those are, but they're out there for you.
A lot of them are about consumerism and gaming and stuff like that, and the people who look over it.
They basically have pushback saying, and like I said, I am super summarizing here, that there's too many studies that say that this isn't a thing. And out of 2 billion people around the world who play games for educational, therapeutic, and recreational value, that there's no disorder that has actually been proven there.
No evidence of one, yeah.
Right. So these guys have until the 19th or May of 2019, is what I meant to say, to get the final draft of this bill in. And essentially you have them versus a bunch of people in the gaming industry trying to either make gaming disorder a thing or not a thing. So what do you think about this?
You want to read this real quick?
This part?
Yeah, by the ESA, Entertainment Software Association.
Sure. It is extremely important to note that the proposed draft circulating is not final and is still under discussion and review. Experts worldwide are urging caution regarding the World Health Organization's proposed gaming disorder, as it may lead to misdiagnosis of real mental health conditions. It is concerning to see the gaming disorder proposal in this draft despite significant opposition from the medical and scientific community. The research supporting inclusion is highly contested and inconclusive. There is no objective evidence to define and diagnose overuse, and that may result in misdiagnosis. The WHO should consider the mounting evidence put before them before inclusion next year of gaming disorder in the final version of ICD-11.
Okay, so this even goes further back than December. For a long time, people take lazy routes, and they've always said like violence happens because of video games. People play video games too much, get violent. There's never actually been a study that's come out and shown that. To the contrary, there's been studies that have shown opposite. And I'm not going to link them because I haven't done my research. This is just from what I've read and what I've heard, but and what I've researched. I have not seen any studies that back that. There's a bunch of studies too that show that playing games help in a lot of ways too. Hand-eye coordination is upped by playing games, a bunch of stuff like that. So this has been something that's been going on forever. And then last December, they're trying to essentially set that up to be able to diagnose people with that. And I think they have a really good point when they're saying this vague terminology and this basic label you can throw on someone will misdiagnose a lot of people with different issues. Someone could be using games as some kind of addictive way, or find some kind of addiction in it, and it could be for other reasons. I mean, people who are suffering from some kind of stress or trauma could be compensating, and that's not even going to get looked at that point because of this, just like, oh, they're addicted to games.
Yeah.
It's too simplistic, and really people can become mentally or habitually addicted to almost anything under the right circumstances. There's typically something else going on there. If you look at people who have phobias from something, it's normally derived from something, or people who are like hoarders who are addicted to certain things like keeping shit is normally from something else, depression, trauma, stuff like that. So these are things that are going to get overlooked if people just see someone playing games a lot and get, I mean, maybe a kid who's like some shit's happening to them in private, but they play games a lot. People will look at that, or just to zone out. Fucking, they're antisocial. They don't want to talk to people, so this is the best way to just stay the hell away from interacting with people. You're gonna completely fucking derail that conversation ever happening or figuring that out, because you're just gonna go, oh, they play games too much. It must be game addiction. I think it's a really bad fucking idea. I mean, obviously because it's fucking wrong and there's no evidence for it. They show something. Just do anything. They're not going to do it. But also because it's not going to help anybody. This is just going to be the fucking gateway to other things if that becomes official. Because then people are going to be like, well, the WHO fucking says, and then they're just going to rely on that as an argument. Well, we're here now, and we already realize that there is no fucking argument here. So it's just going to exacerbate shit. It's going to make conversations about this kind of stuff way fucking harder than it needs to be if that becomes official. It's stupid. And I'm glad there's so many fucking groups of people against it, because I'm glad to see official groups like rallying against this, because most people who play video games will think that's fucking dumb. It's people who don't play video games are going to be like, well, maybe they're onto something. No, they're not. Where's the fucking evidence? You don't have any. Anyway,
the weird part about this is I actually saw somebody on Twitter at one point make an argument about in the aspect of video games making people violent, and they showed all the attention that gets, and then they said, well, where's all the people talking about sports fans? And they showed riots and flipping cars and shit like that after a game. So I mean, like,
well, see, that's not even sports that does that to people. That's fucking pack mentality and fucking tribalism.
It's just, that's funny though, because like that doesn't get talked about in that way. They're like, oh, well, sports are making people do this.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because it's not sports, but they could easily point at and go, sports did that.
And video games are an easy scapegoat because there is essentially a generation of people who just don't get it, right? Yeah. They view it as how do I word this? A toy, essentially.
Yeah, they might have played Atari back in like the fucking 80s.
Yeah, and they don't get it the same way, like, someone who's, well, I guess movies are a little easier to understand because it's fed to you. But regardless, it really comes down to, I really hate when people in any subject, no matter what, try to say that something is bad for you that they have no idea about. Period.
Yeah, I don't think anybody should ever fucking talk about something if they don't know the details of it, or at least don't go hard on it unless you know what you're talking about. This has happened with music. This has happened with movies. This has happened with every fucking medium. And the thing that across the board you're going to see is people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about make big claims on thinking that people's minds are fucking Play-Doh. They're malleable. And as soon as they intake things that they don't understand and they don't like, that's going to make people into violent people. The only connection there is to any of this is people who already have something going on with them. Some predisposed thing, maybe anger issues or whatever. They could become enraged from something, but that's already a pre-existing thing. It's not the video game, it's not the movie, it's not the fucking music. It's them taking something from that as a catalyst, as something to allow them. A friend back in the day, he had a little brother who had anger issues. He'd call him like the wrong name. He'd get pissed and throw a chair, all this shit, really ridiculous stuff. He'd play video games, and if he lost too much times, he'd get really pissed and become violent. It wasn't the video game doing that. Yeah. He had anger issues already. There. So if you don't know shit about this and you saw that kid get angry of a video game, of course you're going to be like, well, it must be video games that did it. No, you're not paying attention. I mean, that's all it comes down to.
Yeah. Well, and it also, another, I think, huge problem is that people are so quick to want an answer right now
and to fucking fix it overnight.
Yeah, and so they find simple labels to throw on things to just essentially be dismissive about it.
Yep. Well, because then they can write down like, "Well, we figured it out."
Yeah. Oh, I did it. I fixed it.
Yep.
I'm the smart one. I mean, if this was just even tweaked to be like, and I hate to even like put it towards the games at all, but like maybe recognize that people who react a certain way while playing games might need to have other things checked out with them, that'd be a much better version of this than to just say that games are causing a disorder.
I'm just not okay with generalizing in general, like, because fucking every case is going to be different.
Yeah.
And I guarantee every case that you see violence and someone who's like playing games, whether it's a little bit or a lot, I guarantee if you deep dive into that, you're going to find other issues before the game. So, like, literally, if you Google it, you will not find, unless it's someone who has bullshit, like if you find like some like really religious group or something like that, I don't know, I'm just guessing. But like if you look into it like I have, you can't find legit studies that will show any connection.
It's like that chick from Australia. Did you hear about that recently? It's turning into Taste Cast. I'm sorry. She's a politician, if I'm not mistaken, and she is trying to ban violent video games because of a study that she has her hands on that say that video games cause violence in people. And it's one organization, and a bunch of other organizations went, this isn't true. And that organization you're citing has like some other thing going on with them. So they have like a reason to say that anyways.
And so one fucking one study's not enough. You need multiple studies to start if you're gonna change legislation.
Yeah.
You can't just go off like, well, my buddy says, so that's not
pretty
good
much
enough.
what she's doing, and people are just like, what the fuck, man? So
yeah, it's bullshit, and that's a huge fucking red flag. If you're trying to change legislation, legislation on shit based off basic fucking like fundamentals and like no facts, you're being vague about stuff, it's disingenuous. Why are you being disingenuous if you're trying to do something like that? It's a huge red flag. Yeah. It should be shut down. It's fucking stupid. Just like this, like they don't have studies. This guy right here, fucking Michael D. Gallagher, saying the WHO's process lacks transparency, is deeply flawed, and lacks objective scientific support. I mean, that's a great way of saying, like I was saying, fucking where's the study at? Where's the research? Show people. If there's proof of it, then where's it at? We can't play the guessing game.
Yeah, there's another one down here too. This is the Society for Media Psychology and Technology. Which is a division of the American Psychology Association. Psychological. So, yeah. Sorry, 2 a.m. right now.
Oh shit! Yeah, no, baby's a little buzzed.
Released a statement in March of this year saying, having concern for the proposal as well, saying we can discern no clear reason why video games are being singled out for disorder rather than general behavioral addiction category. If the concern were truly regarding clinical access for those with problem behaviors, thus an obsessive focus of the WHO on video game addiction would appear to us to be responsive to moral panic, one which in turn is likely to fuel more moral panic, including miscommunications that game playing can be compared to substance abuse.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is you'd be able to you'd be able to see the same kind of symptoms. And some people, anyone I've ever known who has shown like addictive qualities towards games shows those same qualities towards other things in their life that they get really into. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's purely a personal thing. I honestly don't know anybody who's like, and it almost seems like game addiction, which I don't really see as much anymore, is a lot like more relaxed than when I was like, I don't know, when like MMOs first blew up. There's a lot of people who were like, I can't stop playing or whatever. And those people that I knew who were like that with anything they got into.
Yeah.
That's like, it's the whole like addictive personality thing, even though I'm not going to rely on that too much, but like it's per person. Like I've never been like that when it comes to stuff. So it's like, I don't know.
I did a little when I was younger, not so much these days.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah. But see, if it was an addiction, like a drug, you wouldn't just phase out of that.
Right.
It's like cigarettes. You have to quit them. You have to try to stop smoking. Some people can. That's an abnormality. But most people who smoke cigarettes or do drugs show visible symptoms, act differently. Their heart rate goes up. They fucking become irritable, all that shit. Like I was saying before, if you have like a young kid who's like gets irritable and doesn't play games, there's probably other underlying issues going on there. Because you're not seeing that in wider demographics. Yeah. Everybody across the board's not doing that. And so many people play video games now that if they were
over 2 billion,
Yeah. If they were, you'd have a way bigger fucking margin of people following this. So it's complete bullshit. It's stupid. Ugh.
That's about 1 in 3 almost.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah. I mean, we could rant about this for the rest of the night, but essentially, obviously our opinion here is that this is just complete bullshit.
Bullshit needs to get shut down. It literally is. It not only won't help anything, it's going to make things worse when it comes to diagnosing things.
Oh, for sure.
And then it's going to give, people who are against games already or trying to use them as some kind of fucking scapegoat, it's going to give them an easy term to just fall back on.
Fuel for the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all it is. It's an easy categorization.
Words.
Yeah.
Not working tonight.
We're tired. Yeah. Had a long day at work and then sipping some of that wine. But yeah, like you said, we can talk about this all night. Let us know, what do you think in the comments below? Do you think there's any merit behind the WHO essentially making this a official diagnosis of gaming disorder? Do you think, like the rest of the people, that this is bullshit and they need more facts and evidence? Do you think it'd be detrimental to people who actually might have other things going on in their life? Let us know everything you're thinking about when it comes to this. It's a pretty big topic. There's a lot to go off of, and we talked about it a lot more than I thought we would. I thought we'd both just be like, this is dumb, be done with it. But a lot of good stuff was said in that. But that's going to do it for this episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook at Tasty Loot Gaming. Check out the streams on the channel here, but also on Twitch at Tasty Senpai, all one word. Make sure to hit the notification button to know when I go live. And we're on Discord. Make sure to go down in the description box and join us there. And we're on iTunes and all other podcast platforms if you would prefer to listen to us. And my name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
Until the next episode, which will be this Friday for Tasty Cast, have a great week, guys, and take it easy.